alone, but selling it outside, out there. But most importantly, we are here also, they are here also to showcase and familiarize themselves so as to be able to help us sell our Roots Homecoming Festival. Because that's a festival that needs to attract a lot of Afro-Americans or Anglophones or stuff like that who are actually in the diaspora, and they need to come back and, connect with their roots in the Gambia.
Apranti, who has stepped foot in the Gambia for the first time, welcomes the idea of coming back to the Smiling Coast for the Gambia's 2013 International Roots Homecoming Festival.
And anybody who's aspiring to be a DJ, go for it, because it's a beautiful job. Well, wherever Richard tells us to go is exactly where we will go. So, we are here for Richard, we're here supporting him, and, we're here for Gambia as well. So whatever you want us to do, myself and Atumpan will definitely do.
DJ Apranti is accompanied to the Gambia by his manager and another artist, Atumba. The much-awaited performance of DJ Apranti will be done on Saturday, 30th March at Duplex Nightclub and Saturday, 31st March at Joko Nightclub. For GRTS News, this is Baukar Senghor.
Well, that report on DJ Apranti's arrival there takes us to our first break. We'll be back with news from outside the Gambia. Welcome back. It's been 3 days since Nelson Mandela was hospitalized, yet again for lung infection. South African authorities say the iconic ANC leader is recovering and responding well to treatment. But how does the younger generation of South Africans who have not witnessed the apartheid era perceive Madiba, as a general feeling of nervousness and anxiety over his health grips the country and people across the world? Let's turn out this report for more.
But who nonetheless all have heard, of course, of Nelson Mandela. This is how many young people in Soweto will pass their Easter. A barbecue, a beer, seeing friends in the trendy bars. But jobs are hard to find in Nelson Mandela's old neighbourhood. About 40% of young people are unemployed. Washing cars is one way to buy that drink. Life is better than when Mandela struggled for freedom here, but it's far from perfect. About 60% of Soweto's population is under 20. They're a generation called Born Frees, too young to remember apartheid, but old enough to know the debt they owe Mandela.
He brought change into our country. It's because of him I can talk to people like you without breaking the law.
He's a living legend, that's what makes him so important, because he's a game changer. He made a difference, and he could live to tell the story.
This area of Soweto is part of the tourist trail connected to the amazing life of Nelson Mandela, but not all of the young people here speak so glowingly about the man they call Madiba. What do you think of Madiba? How relevant is he for you?
He's just okay. I don't know anything about him, but he's just okay. I know that he fought for us, and if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be in a white school.
So it has had a big impact on your life, but for you, what's more important?
My phone.
Your phone?
And my parents, yeah.
A harsh reality echoed by this man, only willing to speak freely with his identity hidden, fearing ANC reprisals. So how relevant is Madiba to your generation?
Okay. Well, I don't think it's relevant at all. Madiba is something that happened in the past. We got freedom, but we didn't get economic empowerment, you know what I mean? So we still, at the end of the day, we're still where we were in the struggle.
The generation of Born Frees is too young to remember this defining moment in 1994 when Nelson Mandela became South Africa's first black president. For them, This is the image of Mandela they recognise, a frail old man whose incredible achievements some now take for granted.
It's estimated that 4 of every 100 Palestinians in the West Bank are Christian. As Easter approaches, the city of Jerusalem takes on a special significance for them. But reaching the famous holy city is no easy feat. CNN's Frederick Playton examines the challenges faced in the West Bank community.
Like they have every year, tens of thousands of Christians came to Jerusalem for the traditional Palm Sunday processions. Pilgrims from all over the world retraced what they believe was Jesus' route from Bethany to Jerusalem. Among them, Palestinian Christians from the West Bank. Their journey wasn't far, only a few kilometers in some cases, but difficult.
We have some Palestinians participating because they got permissions, and a lot of our Palestinian parishioners could not come.
Palestinian Christians who want to visit holy sites in Jerusalem for Easter need to get a special permit from the Israeli government, a practice most say is unfair, like Khawla Sirhed from Nablus in the West Bank.
It's a holy city, but not for us. I'm sorry to say that.
Access to Jerusalem is always heavily restricted for Palestinians from the West Bank due to security concerns, Israel's government says. The office in charge of issuing the permits tells CNN that more than 19,000 were handed out for Easter and less than 1% were denied for security reasons.
But there are certain problems with the access to holy sites that go beyond the issuing of permits. This is the path that Jesus is believed to have taken when he traveled from Bethany into the old town of Jerusalem. For more than 1,000 years, Christians have tried to retrace those steps, but now that's no longer possible because of the wall that separates Jerusalem from the West Bank.
The question of access even came up in talks during the U.S. president's visit to the region.
In our discussion with President Abbas, I heard him speak eloquently about the difficult issues that cannot be ignored. Among them, problems caused by continued settlement activity, the plight of Palestinian prisoners, and access to holy sites in Jerusalem.
Back at her home in the West Bank, Khawla Sirhed and her husband practice English with their 2 daughters under a painting of the Virgin Mary. Khawla says she believes Palestinian Christians should always be allowed to visit the holy sites in Jerusalem, not just for big holidays like Easter.
I'm a Christian.
Clashes between supporters and opponents of Egypt's Muslim Brotherhood continue in the capital Cairo and the town of Alexandria, where 10 people have been reportedly wounded in fierce street battles. And military maneuvers by the Russian army are underway in the Black Sea, another surprise decision by President Putin. Over 7,000 men are involved in Moscow's latest show of military prowess. For these and other stories, let's turn to this CFI News Roundup.
Forces in the West Bank city of Hebron on Friday. Hundreds of people took part in demonstrations Saturday to mark Land Day commemorations. Land Day commemorates the deaths of 6 Arab-Israeli protesters killed by Israeli police and troops in 1976 as they opposed plans to confiscate land in Galilee. There are 1,400,000 Arab Israelis out of a total Israeli population of 8 million people. Clashes in Cairo and Alexandria between opponents and sympathizers of Egypt's Islamist President Mohamed Morsi have left 10 people injured. Police used tear gas to break up demonstrations close to the president's party, the Muslim Brotherhood offices. Over the past weeks, 30 Muslim Brotherhood offices have been attacked. A great deal of destruction has been carried out in Burma in the wake of attacks between radical nationalist Buddhists against Muslims. Over 40 people have been injured. The new government has attempted reforms to put an end to sectarian tensions, but the situation is far from stable. In Russia, military maneuvers are underway in the Black Sea region. The surprise decision was announced by President Putin. 7,000 men and 36 ships are involved in the exercises. President Putin has stressed the importance of the military. In 13 years in power, he has often cited external threats when talking of the need of reliable armed forces and Russian political unity.
We'll go for another break. We'll be back momentarily.